Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. It is a glorious day for independent comics, and you know what that means. Of course, it means it's a glorious day for comic book readers everywhere. Eric July, aka Young Rippa, has found massive success with the pre-sales of his brand new comic Isom, which is the first comic book in what he's calling the Rippaverse. Of course, with success comes a plethora of haters, and don't worry, we're going to be getting to that in just a little bit, but I want to highlight something before we get into all of the craziness. This project has already earned over $1 million in just over 24 hours, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be slowing down anytime soon. Not only that, there are still over 70 days to go, which is just mind-blowing and extremely exciting if you're a fan of indie comics, or hell, if you're just a fan of exploring new universes in comics in general. And while we are going to be talking about some unhinged weirdos in this video, I want to take a moment to congratulate Eric because this is a monumental achievement, and it shows that hard work and dedication truly does pay off. And not only does it show that if you set your mind to something and you really want it, you can achieve it, but the early and resounding success of the launch of this comic shows that there is a huge market of customers who are desperate, starving for a comic that isn't full of pandering political nonsense. A comic coming from a creator who does not actively hate his own fans. A brand that is creating new stories for comic book readers of all race, genders, and creeds to enjoy. You know, how all comics used to be before they went to shit. Now, Young Rippa, Eric, I'm going to call him Eric for the rest of this video. Eric is clearly receiving a massive amount of support for his hard work, and rightfully so, but there are these lunatics out there who are just seething, frothing at the mouth while convulsing at their desks at the thought of a successful black man achieving his goals just because his politics don't align with the woke cult, and because he associates with geeks and gamers and Comicsgate. I swear to God, it's like these people, these absolutely unhinged lunatics, they lost their hoods and robes somewhere, or maybe they're just shoved so far up their own asses, and that's why they're acting like such dickheads. But it's not just a selection of racist idiots on Twitter who struggle with mommy and daddy issues that are trying and failing miserably to rain on this parade. Oh no, no, no. Reddit is dead set on trying to stamp out any and all conversation when it comes to the Rippaverse. I'm going to show you some absolutely mind-boggling tweets from some absolutely idiotic people online, as well as this situation with Reddit. But before we go into all of that, if you're a fan of me and my content, and who are we kidding, of course you are, be sure to drop a like and share this video around. And if you're new to my channel, welcome, stick around until the end of this video and subscribe if you think I earned it. Let me tell you something that I saw today that reinforced something that I learned many, many years ago. There is nothing on this earth that will leave an ultra-progressive individual in a salt-induced coma like a successful black man who does not fall in line with the insane ideology that is wokeness. God, I fucking hate using that word so much. I feel like anti-SJW cringe, but I can't help it. I can't help but talk about these things because they keep happening. Just stop being crazy for 10 fucking seconds so I can stop talking about woke people. But here you have some absolutely vile creatures that have wormed their way out of their little holes to spew hatred towards Eric, like this individual here. But more on that in a bit. Leading up to the announcement and pre-sales going live for Leading up to the announcement and pre-sales going live for Isom, Eric was dealing with people like this. Still, it's not gonna compete with bigger named brands. Also, since it seems to star a black man, wouldn't that make it woke? Kinda defeats its own purpose if it does. I don't know why that voice popped into my head. That is just how Josh here sounds to me. I'm mad at myself for doing that voice, but it spoke to me. Ah, yes, the classic Twitter user, name and then bunch of numbers. If this isn't a bot, which I mean, judging by the Elon Musk Twitter deal, it more than likely is a bot, But if it's not, Josh here is one of the most retarded individuals I have ever seen on this wretched hellscape of a website. Imagine saying, just because a non-white person is involved in a project, and in Isom's case, the fucking main character of the book, that somehow inherently makes the project woke. Yes, let's all think back to that time, that classic scene in Blade when he went to the underground vampire rave to lecture all of those privileged white vampires about their full-blooded vampire status.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
How woke that Blade was black. This just goes to show you how these people have completely lost their connection to reality. And also the subtle racism of believing that all non-white people are somehow this monolith who all prescribe to the same values and political identity. But I guess they're taking a page out of Jill Biden's book.
Diversity of this community, as distinct as the Bogotas of the Bronx, as beautiful as the blossoms of Miami, and as unique as the breakfast tacos here in San Antonio.
Oh, see, my kisses taste like tacos.
And then there's people like this user who I'm not gonna go super hard on because, I mean, this tweet itself isn't really attacking or that bad. I think they're just expressing an opinion. But if you go on their Twitter page, you can see that they're one of the fucking chuds kind of people. So, I mean, I don't know. It feels like this tweet, they're kind of hedging their bet. They don't want to like overcommit and say that the comic's going to fail because it's already sold over $1 million fucking dollars. But that's just me. Look, good on Rippa for doing his own thing, and Ryan should support that, but don't hype him up to be the next Marvel or DC and say that it's bad news for them when nothing has been released yet. That's asking for too high of expectations. I mean, have you seen the state of DC and Marvel right now? Who the hell would want to be them? I mean, when you're getting to the point where New Warriors was actually looking like a good idea, like that was something you could sell, there is something horribly wrong at your company. My question is, why does this book even need to be the Marvel or the DC killer? I think Marvel and DC are doing a good enough job as it is, killing themselves off without help from anybody else. But giving customers another choice and something to read is never a bad thing. If people want to read the shit that is coming out of DC and Marvel, then that's fine. They have the ability to do that. If not, customers have a plethora of indie comics to choose from. Personally, I'm excited to get my hands on Isom and Terror in the Trenches, or hell, people could even go the manga route and start exploring the wealth of incredible stories they have to offer. Like just today, I bought the box set of Demon Slayer. I bought 7 volumes of Spy Family, and then I saw Chainsaw Man Volume 1, and I hear people talking about Chainsaw Man, and I thought it looked cool, so I picked that up. What I'm saying is, options are never a bad thing. I don't think it needs to be the DC killer or the Marvel killer. Now, would I cry if it did put them under? Absolutely not. Because I think they're garbage companies pushing garbage ideologies onto people, but other companies would take their place. That is how the market works. If customers do not feel that their needs are being met, they will go elsewhere. And that is why you're seeing Rippaverse, this Isom comic, doing so well. There is a base of comic readers who are not being satisfied by the status quo, and that is why you have Rippaverse, and that is why you have Comicsgate. These big publishers, Marvel and DC, they're going to see the noise that Comicsgate makes, that Rippaverse makes, and they're either going to step up their game, which is great for customers because then we're getting a higher quality products. Like, I love Batman. I'm a big DC fan, or at least I was until their comics started getting shitty. I want better DC stories. So if competition from people like Eric can do that, I am all for it. And there is no telling where Isom and the Rippaverse is going to go. I mean, sure, this book could fail. Eric has invested a shit ton of money in this. He has a lot on the line, and it is all him. He's said multiple times, there are no banks involved. He's not paying for marketing. This is all on him. He is bankrolling this project. But I think the most important thing that Isom, this Rippaverse, is showing everybody is that creating something is possible. And that if you have a passion, you sitting at your desk listening to this video right now, you could create something if you are passionate and dedicated enough. And for some reason, that scares people. This is actually one of my favorite interactions though. May I ask, who is Rippa? And should I be concerned that Ryan is hyping him up? God forbid Ryan give an endorsement to anybody. Ryan, don't ever talk about my channel. Don't ever say, hey, go check out Metal Gear Mando. This genius replies, he's another conservative who works closely with geeks and gamers that complains about woke comics, shows, movies all the time, though he's actually trying to make a solution, in quotes, to the problems he has with comics compared to his peers who just complain. I just love how conservative is thrown around like a term. It's like a slur now. It's just another way for idiots, these simpletons, to say, oh, I think they're a bad person. They're somebody I don't like. And here's the best part. Eric isn't even conservative, but we live in a world where facts don't matter. Reality is whatever an individual wants it to be. It's just like I said in my last video. This person is Thanos. He has the Infinity Gauntlet. He is the master of reality. And it's because these people are so simple-minded, they cannot understand nuance. Like, the thought of a libertarian just makes their little pea brain boil. You're either on the far left, you're either Karl Marx, or you're just Adolf Hitler. There's no in between anymore. I will say though, I do like how this person gives Eric credit for doing something. I will disagree though. I think talking about cultural issues, talking about what's going on with the corruption of our pop culture is incredibly important. And that's why I and so many other people do it, because it's important to call out bullshit when you see it. But it would be nice if people that had resources started doing more stuff like Rippaverse. It's almost like that's kind of the point, to create something new. A different culture, something where people who are sick of all the garbage can go find something that they like. Maybe this person isn't as stupid as I thought they were. Now, here's where things take a very sharp left turn down a hill into a pit of burning acid. This just turns into being just outright racist, nasty, and vile. This idiot responds with, he's a modern day Uncle Tom for Comicsgate. He should not be supported in any way, shape, or form. Well, guess what? You can get fucked. People are throwing money at this comic hand over fist to the tune of over $1 million and 13,000 total purchasers, which I'm sure has grown because this is just the numbers at the time of recording this video. But this is like diet racism, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, calling somebody an Uncle Tom's pretty fucked. But the next thing, if I were to actually say it or were to actually show you it, it would get me banned off of YouTube. It would get you banned off of any social media platform these days. So I'm going to censor this image, but you can get the idea of what this absolute mongrel was trying to say. And of course, this guy plays it off like, oh, it's just a troll, you know, it's just for the lulz. But he changed his profile picture for some reason. Maybe he doesn't want his face being associated with calling somebody the N-word. But it's like, hey man, if you're going to be an edgelord, just stick with it. Don't be a bitch. Like, this pathetic Neanderthal just full sends his ignorance for everybody to see. But then he cowers, runs away. Man, that's what these people do because they're fucking pathetic. Sometimes I just have to take a moment and really process how stupid people can be at times. What is it about a comic book that can make people go this crazy? I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is that these people, they're just bitter. They hate themselves for not being able to do things that Eric is doing. And they're looking for any and all excuses to try to put him down because they are so unsatisfied, unfulfilled, and displeased with themselves and where they're at in their life. It's fucking sad. It's just pathetic. Perhaps more importantly, though, at least for me and my sanity, it's pretty goddamn funny because all of us just get to sit back and watch the last remaining shreds of their sanity escape the empty shells they call skulls. But don't kid yourself, viewer. Don't think that this craziness just exists on Twitter. Oh no. This absurdity has made its way to Reddit as well. And I know, I hear you. Mando, you're telling me something stupid happened on Reddit? Users have claimed that they're being banned from r/comic books for talking about or promoting Isom. You can see here, the user asks why they were banned, and the moderator tells them You broke rule number 1 as pertaining to supporting comics from hate groups. Like, what in the hell? Comicsgate is not a hate group. Geeks and Gamers is not a hate group. Hell, I don't even know if this Isom comic and the Rippaverse in general is even under the Comicsgate label, but it doesn't even matter. These fedora-tipping neckbeards moderating this Reddit are absolutely pathetic. Like, just think about the mental gymnastics needed to call Comicsgate or Geeks and Gamers a hate group. I think the only thing they hate is the idiots that are giving Eric so much shit online. Because you look at anybody, Ryan Kinnell, Jeremy, Ethan from Comicsgate, all of these supposedly racist, sexist bigots wishing Eric all the best, celebrating his success. If Comicsgate and Geeks and Gamers are hate groups, then they are the shittiest hate groups out there. But again, we don't live in reality, okay? All these little snowflakes, they're the ones that control reality for themselves because they just don't want to listen to the evidence. They don't want to see what is directly in front of their eyes. But instead, what we're seeing is all of these so-called progressives, all these people that push for diversity, equity, and inclusion, they're the ones that are actually showing their true colors and how much they cannot stand that a non-white person, this black man, is succeeding with his company. These psychos are finally getting everything they've been pushing for in a comic for years now. Diversity, representation, a black-owned business, black creator, and here it all is in one badass-looking package. But he isn't your stereotypical Democrat dick-sucking soy boy, so they want to suppress him? None of it makes sense to me. It's all a joke. And it makes me pretty angry that we have to talk about race when it comes to this, because the success of this comic has zero to do with Eric's skin color. It has zero to do with the skin color of the characters in the book, because that's not what should matter. But unfortunately, we live in a world where that has become the primary focus, so much so that you go on Yelp, you go on Amazon, you see these sections specifically for black people. Like, we went back to segregation. That's why I don't like talking about race, because it shouldn't matter. A meritocracy. How good is your product? How good are your services? When it comes to a company, that is what matters, not what the person running it looks like. But because we live in a bizarro world, somehow that has now become the racist statement. People hear statements like that or words like meritocracy and they look at you like, what are you, a fucking racist? You think people should be judged on how they behave and what they accomplish and what they say and what they do, not based on their skin color? You sound like the Grand Wizard now. Look, I bullshit a lot on this channel, and I bullshit in general because I think it's funny, and taking things too seriously isn't great for your mental health. But what we're seeing here is something that should be taken seriously. There's a lot going on in American culture. It's a tumultuous time with a lot of conflicting ideals and agendas, and we all have our place in that. And it would seem that Eric has found his place. He carved out his own niche very clearly. Let me just read the code of ethics for Rippaverse. The Rippaverse ethic. This comic book company was not created at random. Our founder had been rooted in the culture of American comic books since he was a youngster, and being a creative in the industry was always a dream of his. But the unfortunate state of the industry gave him the push that he needed to give it a shot. We've seen what works, and we've certainly seen what not to do. Rippaverse Comics is the product of a comic book guy that still believes in the magic of the culture. With that being said, we are guided by a set of principles that remain the staple of this company. Respect the customer. We want you invested in this brand and everything that comes from it. Rippaverse Comics is not entitled to your money, and we must earn your support. It's on us as the creators to produce something that you find of value and can remain invested in. It's impossible to please everybody, but we hope there's a book or character that you look forward to keeping up with. The success of this company will be largely dictated by our ability to keep the customers interested and satisfied. We are not oblivious to this. Respect goes both ways, and we will honor our side of the deal. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what it's all about. It doesn't have to be political. It doesn't have to be about owning the libs or trashing conservatives. It can be as simple as creating a company that just wants to provide its customers with the highest quality content to the best of their abilities. Projects like Rippaverse and Comicsgate happen when you ostracize creators, banish people from society due to their political or social views. And if you look at projects like Isom and everything that Eric's trying to do, and it makes you angry, you have a problem with it, well then I would say we have you and people like you to thank for its existence. Eric and everybody else who's trying to do their own thing, keep doing you. This is fucking exciting and I cannot wait to get my hands on this book in August along with others. I'm gonna leave a link to both Rippaverse and another project that I'm extremely excited for called Terror in the Trenches. This is not a sponsored video. I have no affiliation with them other than following on Twitter, but they're just projects that I think look really cool and I think you guys might like them, so feel free to check them out and support if you feel like it. But that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up this video. As always, I want to know what you think about all of this. Go ahead and let me know down in the comment section below. How do you feel about Rippaverse? How do you feel about all these crazy people on Twitter? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you made it this far in the video, don't forget to drop a like, and if you're one of those new viewers and you like this video, subscribe for more Metal Gear Mando content that you so desperately need. And before I go, of course, I want to give a huge, massive shout out to all of my beautiful and amazing channel members. You guys are the backbone of this channel and your support means the world to me. If you want to become a member of this channel, click the join button down below and you can become one of the elite members of this channel. But if you can't, that's fine because you just showing up, watching these videos, interacting with them helps me more than you could possibly imagine. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, stay metal, and I will see you in the next video.